What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another Pitching Ninja's Filthiest Pitches of the Day. Remember, before we get to those pitches, hit that subscribe button. Join Ninja Nation, the best baseball community on YouTube. And now, without further ado, here are my filthiest pitches of the day. I'm going to start with Jameson Taillon, who had these wicked changeups, curveballs, and sliders on his way to 8 Ks in 6 innings, giving up no runs. He was up against Michael Wacha, who had these nasty changeups and 5 Ks in 6 innings. George Kirby had one of his worst outings of the year, lasting only 2 1/3 innings, but had this filthy front door two-seamer. Adrian Martinez had 7 Ks in 5 innings thanks to these two-seamers. Martin Perez had this painted two-seamer and painted backdoor cutter on his way to 5 Ks in 6 innings. Michael Lorenzen had this slider, fastball, and changeups and had 7 Ks in 5 innings. Jonathan Helsley had this nasty changeup and curveball. Mitch Keller had these filthy sliders and 7 Ks in 6 innings. He was up against Hayden Wesneski, who had 6 strikeouts in 6 1/3 innings, giving up 2 earned runs, and had an immaculate inning. And check out the movement on these sliders. These things broke up to 20 inches. Keep your eyes on Wesneski, because this man is filthy. Brandon Woodruff was dominant, having 11 strikeouts thanks to his changeups and sliders, and he got this White Castle special. He was up against Hunter Green, who had 8 Ks in 5 innings, giving up only 2 hits and 2 runs. Another solid outing. Green wasn't throwing as hard as his last outing, but he did hit 101 and had this 90-mile-an-hour painted slider. He also worked in some dirty changeups. It is fun to watch Hunter Green figure it out, and the man has almost unlimited upside. Shane Bieber had 5 Ks in 7 2/3 innings, giving up only 2 runs, and had these dirty knuckle curves. He outdueled Johnny Cueto, but I love this messing with timing by Cueto. Pure performance art. Jack Flaherty went 6 innings with 9 Ks, nice, and gave up 2 earned runs, thanks to these sliders, curveballs, and painted fastball. And it looks like Flaherty is all the way back from his injury, which should be a big boost to the Cardinals' rotation. He was up against Joe Musgrove, who of course had his wicked breaking balls. Here's a fastball and curveball overlay for Musgrove, and you can see why that curveball's so tough. Musgrove had 4 Ks in 5 innings, giving up 1 run. Max Fried had 8 Ks in 5 innings, giving up only 1 run, thanks to his changeups, which were wicked, his fastball, and of course, his pretty curveball. Here's an overlay of his fastball and curveball. And you see how that curveball matches up with that elevated fastball and then dives just as you're ready to swing. Basically, as a hitter, you have to pick your poison. Ranger Suarez went 6 innings with 4 strikeouts, giving up no runs, and had this curveball and changeup. And Spencer Strider was dominant in the dugout with his 100-mile-an-hour seeds. Here it is with a tail. And then he had this wicked two-seater and this 88-mile-an-hour seed slider. Here's an overlay of those two, and you can see why this is so tough. They start out looking the same, and then look at the break on that seed. Just absolute filth from Quadzilla. Justin Verlander had this nasty curveball on his way to 4 strikeouts in 6 innings, and he was outdueled by Kyle Bradish. Bradish was outstanding with 10 strikeouts in 8 2/3 scoreless innings, taking a perfect game into the 6th. He had filthy breaking balls and even a 93-mile-an-hour changeup. Here's an overlay of his fastball and breaking ball. And then here's an overlay of Bradish's 93-mile-an-hour fastball and 93-mile-an-hour changeup. Yep, he pulled a Zach Greinke with a changeup the same speed as his fastball. Julio Urias had 5 Ks in 5 1/3 innings, giving up 1 run, thanks to his curveballs, fastball, and changeup. And he was up against Zac Gallen, who was my filthiest pitcher of the day. Gallen had 13 strikeouts in 8 innings, giving up 1 run, 2 hits, and no walks. He had this absolute dart fastball. Talk about hitting your target. And then these hellacious knuckle curves. You can see why opponents are only hitting 168 against that curveball with a 34% whiff rate. And opponents are only hitting 170 against this fastball. And here's an overlay of Gallen's fastball and curveball. And you can see why that combo is so tough. The curveball looks just like that elevated fastball and then drops right as you're ready to swing. Now on to my filthiest relievers. Aaron Bummer had this sick sinker. Jose Alvarado had this filthy cutter and 101 mile an hour fastball and then went crazy in his celebration. Trevor Stephan had this nasty splitter. Giovanni Gallegos had this filthy slider. Evan Phillips had these wicked sliders. Clay Holmes had this sick sinker. Jose Leclerc had these slombios and K'd the side. Andres Munoz had this filthy slider. Camilo Doval had this mean slider. But my filthiest reliever from yesterday was Ryan Helsley, who hit 103 and 104 with these fastballs. Total diesel. Before I get to the moment of zen, I'd like to give a shout out to Tom Willis, who threw out this amazing first pitch, despite being born with no arms. Absolutely incredible. And now, my pitching ninja moment of zen. This may be the biggest pimp job on a flyout in baseball history.
And the wind, oh my goodness, gonna knock it down. Malloy makes the catch. Perez, I think, still thinks it's out.
Oh,
He's going around the bases.
He thinks it's gone. Oh, no.
What is up, Ninja Nation? My picks of the day today are a 3-leg parlay. First, I'm going to go with Brady Singer for 5Ks or more. Then take Chris Bassett for 6Ks or more. And top it off with Carlos Rodon for 7Ks or more. And remember, today is Bet with Pitching Ninja Day, so you can get this parlay with one click of the button in the FanDuel app. What would your picks of the day be?